Welcome back, everyone. We're here at the final day of the GSL. We're halfway through the round 4. We had, I gotta say, honestly, a really explosive, fun best of 5 there with Dark versus Cure. Cure did end up falling out of the GSL, unfortunately. I thought he put up a great fight in that final game. Definitely a game you're not gonna forget. So Dark is in the finals. Now we have Creator versus Maru.
Yeah, this is going to be a really exciting match. I know that Creator is overshadowed by Maru, who is just, bar none, the greatest GSL player of all time. It's not even a contest. I think if you split Maru into 2 separate players, they would be the top 2 GSL players regardless. This guy is so insane, seeking his 9th GSL trophy, if I'm not mistaken, G9L. It's just absolutely bonkers what this guy has been able to do. And Creator, historically, his best matchup has been PvZ. His PvZ's always been his best matchup. His PvP's been good. PvT, typically where he has struggled in the past. There was some time, maybe in like Heart of the Swarm, where he was kind of leading the pack along with players such as Parting in that matchup. But these days, you think of Creator, you think of PvZ. You don't think of PvT. And he's going up against one of the best Terran players in the world. Probably the best Terran player in the world, but one of the best TVP players in the world. And this is going to be such a slugfest, I think. I'm really hoping Creator is able to pull some special tricks out of his sleeve
the second
to deliver a
finalist
win.
Of today's finals will be determined from this match. But before we do so, we're going to have an interview with the 2 players. Hello. Hello. So what kind of conversation went on between you guys? Well, not much. Not too much. So Creator, you have been on a roll. You defeated Hero, you defeated Dark on your way to the round of 4. And now if you can overcome Maru, you will be able to make it to finals. How do you feel right now? Well, in the round of 8, unlike my expectations, games went well for me, so I was quite surprised myself. And I know the round of 4 is going to be a formidable one for sure. So in the interview before, we didn't discuss any in-game questions, and the same thing is going to be for this interview as well. So were you kind of like, did you see Maru's interview? No, I didn't see his interview. I didn't catch it. So what Maru said was that as long as it's not Hero, he can take down anyone. Do you agree? Yeah, I think I agree to a certain extent. So Maru, this is a round of 4 match in the Sangam Coliseum against Creator. So Cure has been eliminated just now. So what do you think about this round of 4? I mean, Cure in the round of 8, he played really well, and so did Creator. So I'm kind of scared of Creator right now. So Dark has already made it to the finals, and the second finalist will be determined soon. So what do you think about that? I saw Dark playing, and he was playing really phenomenally, so I think he really deserved it as a finalist. So Maru's smiling as he's doing this interview. So I want to hear your thoughts, and I want to see the winner prediction. So currently 68% for Maru, 32% for Creator. So Creator, are you kind of like taken aback by this? No, I'm actually grateful. And I'll try to play to the fans' expectations. I mean, despite the winner prediction being unfavorable for Creator, he still made it through the round of 8, round of 16. Yeah, I mean, like, currently the momentum is actually good for me, so I think I can give my all today. I mean, a lot of fans are here to support for Creator. So anything you want to say before we kick off the match? I mean, the opponent is Maru, none other than Maru. So I did prepare a lot. And I'll try to believe in myself. And if you guys can support me, it'll be a lot of help. All right, then you, Maru. Anything you want to say before this round of 4 match? I'm really grateful that a lot of fans came here to the venue. I'll try to overcome the jinx and try to make it as a finalist and try to win the whole thing. All right, we look forward to your performance today. Thank you, guys.
All right. I'm excited to get started here, Tasteless.
I want to jump right into these games, man. Now, I want to do a little bit of a look at the history of Creator. It was in this, what do we call this, a theater studio, technically, that Creator got to the finals. He got deep. We watched him look okay at the start and then fall apart. He lost in a very Creator way. Creator, seriously, at times, if you were to cover up the ID, you'd be like, this is like the best Protoss. Who is this guy?
Yeah.
But the problem is that, especially in a long series, so sometimes that's a day of GSL, like a group. Other times that's, you know, the semifinals or the finals. He will make a mistake somewhere, and it seems like he goes on tilt. It seems like he falls off. It seems like the focus is gone. The precision with the control is not the same. And sometimes the decision-making is off. So I've always felt like Creator and his journey to become a GSL champion has been one of Creator conquering himself and a lot less about who his opponent is. Now, that being said, we got to talk about who his opponent is, because his opponent has won more GSLs than anybody probably ever will.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the 13th year of GSL. We've been around for a long time. Maru is getting to the point where he is kind of out of range for anybody, you know, competing with that position. And I gotta say, you know, it's cool to have Creator here now. I think if he can win here, he can win the whole thing. But this is really the biggest challenge for Creator at this moment.
I mean, Creator has been the most emotionally invested player in the GSL for a really long time. This game means so much to him, but to give him credit, he has looked a lot more solid, not just in terms of his play, but in the way that he conducts himself. He doesn't seem to get shaken up even when he makes mistakes. I think was part of the reason why he was able to win in the round of 8 in such a convincing fashion is, you know, sometimes we'll get in these moments where something doesn't go Creator's way. He could have executed better. And just instinctively, having casted and watched him for so long and even trained with him in the Prime House, I will go to his player cam and be like, how is he taking this? Is he going to still be able to deliver the same performance, or is he now getting inside of his own head? So far this season, it seems like he is brushing off the mistakes and getting back into the momentum. He is not giving up at all. I think Creator has a really good chance here, Tasteless.
I think so. I hope he can do it. If not, it's the same business as usual and Maru wins. Guys, game number 1 in this best of 5 starts right now. Okay, so Creator in the top left, Maru in the bottom right. And, you know, Creator has had so many different approaches to the matchup. I think he does have the biggest amount of builds in all the matchups for Protoss. Is that fair to say?
Certainly when you add in PvP and PvZ, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. And I kind of respect this because, you know, some players, they're maybe a little bit redundant with their play styles, but it works for them. I've seen this with Beyond from time to time. Creator has always tried to play like a champion. He's always tried to come out here with like every possible angle of play, to the point where I do think he is literally the hardest player to predict. The problem is the only thing that is predictable is occasionally he'll fumble the ball somewhere through the process. So I don't know about you guys at home. My experience casting GSL since day 1 is like, I've always been interested in Creator's story. I've always wondered, okay, is this going to be the time that he can finally get over that hump? It's been a decade plus of him trying to do this. Today is one of the rare moments that he might be able to do it. So he's got to bring it.
He's been one of the most captivating players in GSL for almost the entire history. You could see with so many fans showing up for him right now.
People come down. People that watch the show, they go, oh my God, is he going to make it? That would be so cool to be here for that.
I think basically all of us can see a little bit of ourselves in Creator with how he takes the game.
Oh,
it's the
100%.
way that a lot of us that play at home, when we do play, it's the way that we would react to a win or a loss is sometimes, especially if you're not a professional player, it'll rock you to the core. It'll be the biggest feeling of elation. You go on a winning streak, say you get promoted to a new league, or you lose a couple of games and you go post on Reddit and you cry about Protoss being OP or Widowmines or something. Creator, maybe not to that degree, complains or whines, but this is a guy that he will lose and he will get shaken up. And we can all relate to that, even not just in StarCraft, but in different aspects of our life, is he just wears his heart on his sleeve. You can see how he is feeling in almost every moment, and it's just so relatable. It's hard not to cheer for this guy, and I really hope we have a good series between him and Maru.
And there are definitely players that are on a different spectrum, emotionally. Some more than others. I mean, I put Beyond and Creator very much that like high emotions level. Like you could just look and you could see how they're feeling. You could see if they're happy. You could see if they're sad. That can be a double-edged sword. In fact, sometimes I feel like it's almost better if you're less emotional, because you kind of just go back into what works. You know, you're trying to win no matter what, but you're not taking the hits as hard when you have those bumps, you know, in the road in that best of 5, best of 7.
I mean, look at Maru. He's one of the most stoic players that we have in the 100%. GSL, because he's been there. He's done that. 11 finals, right?
Yeah, like we've seen Maru lose finals, and he just sort of was like, all right, everybody, goodbye. Thanks for
another trophy. I need to buy another shelf online.
No, but I mean, when he loses, he's also fine. He's not, you know, he's not, he's very nonplussed about it, which I think gives him an edge in some ways. So in this game, we have a Robo coming down. We have Blink with gateways. I didn't see a third Nexus. I'm sorry, does he have 2 more gateways coming?
I think he's going up to 3-gate Robo with Blink.
I was wondering if there was going to be a 4th. That does seem to be passé in Korea now, the 4-gate play. So 3-gate's fine. Definitely very safe. Not as greedy as 2-gate with a 3rd base.
Yeah, and it's hard to make a 4-gate play work on a map like Site Delta, where there isn't a lot of surface area to blink into the natural or the main base. And Maru coming with Italians, actually going to dive into the main base with one of them, just get some scouting information. If he's lucky, he might be able to get 1 or 2 probes. We'll see. First splash damage hit pretty good. He's going to trade it out for the 1. Indeed he does, and that Hellion basically did its job. Got 1 worker kill, got full scouting information there for Maru, and he knows exactly what he is up against.
Back over here, Maru's continuing to macro. A very slow game to start things off, but I don't think it needs to be a fast one to make this series interesting. I think Maru looks at Creator as an opponent and goes, well, I just have to play my game. And I think that's true for a lot of players. And so why take risks? Why try anything dramatic? This is a matchup with 2 players where Maru has won so many more times over Creator that, you know, this should be one of the easier days in Maru's tournament career. At least this series is. I think Dark is going to be a much tougher opponent. But again, I'm always interested in game 1 with Creator. How clean does he look? Oh, looks like he should be able to get in here with the Hellion.
Yep. Depths are going to clean that up, as well as the Stalkers there on the front line. And let's see where Creator decides to go from here. He's still sitting on the 3-gate Robotech, now adding in a 4th and 5th gateway, actually. So maybe a little bit of aggression coming the way of Maru here, as Creator's getting set up on 3 bases, but he's just sticking with 3 gas. He's adding an additional gateways. He's getting charge in a Warp Prism. I like this play coming in from Creator. He is not really playing for the late game. He's not taking up. He's not getting upgrades. He is going to try and catch Maru being greedy in almost a similar way to the way Dark tried to catch Cure being greedy in game 1 on Site Delta.
It's timed out for when the 3rd command center is going to leave.
Yeah.
So he's just showing the Stalkers.
5 gates in production, Tasteless.
And the idea is that from the transition from 2 base to 3, there's going to be this flimsiness in the Terran's position, and he wants to try to basically come in there and crack the Terran's jaw.
Yeah, especially if you're playing a Blink Stalker composition like this, if you're able to actually breach that 3rd command center, and it seems like Maru's being a little bit timid about going to land that down at the 3rd base. You could actually snipe that CC with Stalkers, and even if you don't get game-ending damage in, it's the kind of position that you can play from.
We don't see this that often, by the way.
No, it's quite rare.
We see Protosses be a little bit more passive a lot of the Siege Now,
look at that micro there by Creator. He gets the
that was
Siege
sick.
Tank. He
That was
basically
perfect.
just trades shields on the Stalkers.
Yeah. Now, the Siege Tanks are the most important thing in this position. It's kind of tying everything together. Usually they're sort of daisy chained together so that they cover each other, and therefore the whole position is safe. The Stalkers are going to come in, but this is to draw the screen away. More reinforcements are going to come down. That Warp Prism, oh my god, he's got 2 Cyclones ready.
Yeah, Maru's being really smart with the defense. Those Stalkers were able to snipe 1 Marauder, and now Maru is meeting Creator here in the middle of the map. He sees a lot of Zealots coming in. Warp Prism going to drop, actually able to survive for a good bit. Able to drop all 4 Zealots at least here in the main base. There is a second Warp Prism about to fly cross map. about to pop out of that robo. And keep in mind, Creator, he is not all in with his build. He still has full saturation on 3 bases. He is getting the robo bay and +1 ground weapons. He's just trying to get some damage done. Well, the Stalkers now coming in, able to defuse one of these Widow Mines, take that out. And the force field's able to actually get a good number of Marines. Some immaculate control from Creator to start things out.
Okay, he's got some more Zealots coming up here. Terran has to stay back. Now, Maru does have this third base up. We have not had the position broken yet.
Yeah, it seems like Creator is starting to move a little bit away from just absolutely breaching this position, but
well, there's no
actually
fourth base yet. I think he's actually still, he's still going for it.
This is a lot of Zealots, Tasteless. Creator now charging in. Does take some big shots from the Widow Mines. Those Zealots have to recharge their shields.
Yeah, the War Prism's here, but it seems a little bit late. He dives in. A couple more force fields come out as the Zealots begin to be thinned out.
Yeah, and Maru's doing a great job of just kiting this mostly melee army from Creator to perfection. And if there was a window of attack where Creator could get some damage done, it feels like it's closed. The bio ball here for Maru is just too substantial now. The Zealots are never going to get the surface area that Creator needs. So he has to focus instead on this Colossus tech coming in.
Now the counter push is going to come. Now, again, Creator's fourth base is late. So even though, Maru survives, Creator's also hurting in the sense that he's lost a lot of units. He hasn't really focused on development. Maru basically weathered the storm. He's going to try to come out on his own. If it's not an overextension, this could be really bad for Creator.
Only a couple of force fields available here for Creator. So instead, just going to pop the Guardian Shield. Nice pickup there with the Colossus. Able to save it from getting sniped, but still, the Marines and Marauders getting a ton of damage done. You see Maru just continuously trying to move forward and catch Creator sleeping, try and snipe that Colossus, but the micro, really good from Protoss, is going to allow Creator to anchor down that position between the natural and the third base. Maru instead going to pivot to harassment, going in with these Widow Mine and the natural expansion, at the same time posturing as if he's going to hit the third. But it seems like this game's going to quiet down a little bit.
Okay, some mines. Now Creator does react in time. He's going to pick one more up and just try to rotate this over. He will still go for the workers up here in the main. Maru's still building up pressure.
Yeah, Maru with this really fast 3cc build has been doing a good job of just macroing up a huge ball of bio and also trading one Widow Mine for all that lost mining time from Creator having to pull the probes.
Yeah.
And even getting some kills. Very good value here for Terran, but we shouldn't underestimate Creator's army in this stage. If he's able to catch Maru out of position with the Charge Zealots, there is a window where he can get a lot of damage done, especially if he's able to hit it with +2 ground weapons. But if Maru takes the kind of engagement that Maru wants to take with his bio ball, if he doesn't get caught in the middle of the map or cornered by Zealots, or Creator is able to get a surround done, then it's going to be really hard for this mostly melee army that Creator has with 21 Zealots to really get a lot of damage done here.
Yeah. And they're even on bases. I mean, Creator's not really ahead in any sense right now. This all goes back to that attempt to really punish Maru as he took his third base. And Maru just honestly had a really good job, of holding that, of managing everything that was coming at him.
Oh, the Stalkers get caught here in the center of the map. That's a lot of them going down. Blink must be on cooldown.
And you could see Creator wincing in that moment.
It's a painful moment for Protoss. You need those Stalkers. You do not want to replenish them.
It does seem like he's feeling the walls close in around him a little bit here. Now, Creator has a very healthy army at this point in time. It's going to come down to the kiting on both sides, how they engage each other.
Yeah, only a handful of Vikings with the main force of Maru, but more coming across the map right now. Actually, it is 6. They keep bunching up. For a second, I thought it was only a handful, but said actually able to dish out a lot of damage. That Colossus very well microed that going back. The Stalkers blink forward, trying to pick off more Vikings, and that's going to create a situation where Creator's going to try and collapse on this position, and Maru actually is going to kite back through the Widow Mines. They're taking away a lot of the HP of these Zealots, as Creator never really able to get the momentum going in that fight. Yes, the Colossi survived, but Maru's keeping a lot of these key units alive, especially the Ghost. The Ghost count is really high right here in the middle of the map. Creator needs some disruptor shots to try and connect.
Okay, another push out here, just trying to clear these mines. He's even trying to use some of these Stalkers to just bait out some of the shots. He wants to get a position on the map. Creator's starting to grow. He's taking a 5th base now, trying to stay ahead of Maru if he can.
Yeah, but you can just see the units lost out of the top left. Maru has been so efficient with his control, and now adding in so many additional command centers. This almost looks like Maru playing at TVZ with how many extra command centers we have coming in. He just feels so confident in his position that he's going to spend his mineral bank on setting up for a supreme economic lead in the late game.
Okay, nice snipe there on the Viking, but are these Stalkers going to get stuck? Blink only gets you so far.
Yeah, I like that Blink recall, but he's still going to lose at least a couple of Stalkers. EMP also dropping in.
Yeah, again, the map is very much under the control of Maru here. He's continuing to sweep. We're getting to the 13th minute right now. And I gotta say, I mean, Creator is hanging with Maru. But Maru is really getting to that point where it starts to get scary. See all these command centers finishing? That's gonna be so many mules, so many opportunities to replace bases that are lost if Creator does get in there. And this is where it's gonna be a real challenge here for Creator. He wanted to end this early, so it never got to this point. It's too late for that now, we're here.
Yeah, and Creator, although he is hanging with Maru, the buildup of Maru's army has been so substantial. He already has 3-3 about to finish. It's just +2 ground weapons here for Protoss. And Creator basically playing on one forge with no storm means that he really needs the disruptor shots to connect with the bio ball. If that doesn't happen, I don't see a world where he's able to mop up this Terran army. He just doesn't have the splash damage that he needs. I mean, these 3 Colossi are basically on a clock, even with only 7 Vikings.
Right. Again, any hull damage, he can't repair that. Oh, another one goes down.
Yeah, only 2 Colossus standing. The first disruptor shot does get dodged as Maru's going to move into the natural expansion with a big chunk of bio. I love the pre-spread here in the natural. That disruptor shot gets a good connection. A lot of bio going down, including some ghosts, but is it going to be enough?
Okay, he doesn't manage to take out the pylon to stop that warp and a blink in here at the bottom. I don't know. It just seems like there's too much here for Maru. Somehow he's going to win this fight, and he's already about to max out again. This could be the game.
Yeah, there's basically no world where Creator is going to be able to muster an army after this. 16 army supply. This Robo gets unpowered. Only 3 Stalkers here for Protoss. As Creator basically digesting this loss.
I mean, I got to say, it was like completely close, completely even, until it suddenly wasn't. GG.
I mean, the supplies in the game state were 2 totally different stories.
A 105 supply plummet in probably 5 seconds.
And that's just because of the way that Creator was playing the mid game. He's on one forge against a Terran with 3-3 bio, and his army just straight to the point. It was not as nuanced as Maru's. Maru had everything he needed. He had a overwhelming ghost count. He invested in the tech. He had just enough Vikings to take down the 3 Colossi, but not so much that it's going to dampen the rest of his army supply.
Right.
He had exactly the right spread between the natural and third base. That was just a really well-played game there by Maru, and a lot of it goes back to Creator not getting the damage done that he was looking for in the mid-game. He sacrificed his tech by going for this big gateway, quote-unquote, timing attack that never really manifested into anything. Instead, he poked at the third base, he prodded, he picked off a siege tank, he picked off a marauder or 2. But besides that, he never got the economic damage done. He didn't even force a lift at the third CC. And Maru, with his really greedy play, was able to control himself into a position where there was basically no comeback from Creator unless Maru somehow dropped the ball with his control. And Maru is one of the best players in the world at just being this rock of resilience, and Creator just could not find the connections he needed. I think if Creator wants to come back and win here on Alcyone, it's going to have to be a different game plan. He has to either commit way harder to the aggression, or he has to be better set up for the mid game.
You know, Creator, it wasn't the easiest win that he tried to take. It was a very technical attempt to take Maru down. Maru just sort of brushed it off and survived that. We're going to go into game number 2 and see if Creator can pull it back together. Okay, we have a probe, or I'm sorry, an SCV. Yeah, there's something way out on the. This is going to be a Rax.
Yeah, Proxy Reaper opening. I wonder if we're going to have even more proxied here from Maru. There isn't a second SCV coming in, so this isn't going to be the 2X Marauder that Cure did and gave many Protoss players nightmares. I'm sure the ladder was populated with that build for a very long time.
Some Creator support there in the audience. This is a very different build. I don't feel like we talk about this build very often at all.
And
double
it is
gas.
double gas.
This will be a 1-1-1 proxied.
The luminous star in the long night. That's so dramatic.
Yeah.
It is. Protoss has been trying to survive through a long night. Let's be
right.
real.
and you know what's been stopping them? Reddit.
Poor Protoss.
Yeah. Look. In this game, I was going to say earlier, like, let's see what Creator tries to do this time. Doesn't really matter as much if Maru's doing the strategy that he's doing, because Creator will be on the receiving end early on. Now, Creator is going for a pretty straightforward expand opening.
And is this going to be a bunker behind the natural expansion? I think it is. This SCV is moving around.
This is a little Mission Impossible SCV that's going to put the bunker here. And this is going to throw a wrench into the gears of Creator's build right away. This is going to be frustrating. This is not that common in GSL.
It's very common on the range of MMR that I play in.
Yeah. It's definitely some, on a certain MMR, some nonsense that you'll experience. But, you know, the Reaper's going to come in, and this is going to mess with the tempo of the build order.
And the Reaper's getting here when the first adept is only about halfway done, so there's a large window. If Creator only loses a couple of probes, he will be happy to this Reaper. It's almost a guarantee that you're going to lose 1 or 2 here.
Yeah, this is actually really hard to micro.
Wow, this is some good control from Creator. He lost no probes, but unfortunately for him, this bunker, the natural expansion's been unscouted. As soon as he spots this, I'm hoping there's a shield battery thrown down or some stalkers in production, because it's tough to break out of this position with just pure adept. Yeah, the second adept gets canceled, stalker immediately gets started up, shield battery gets thrown down in the natural expansion.
And the issue here is that, you know, besides the fact that obviously the Reapers can gain health over time, so they don't really get punished long-term for taking damage, they can escape in and out of the bunker. The SCV can repair the bunker and, of course, also escape in and out of the bunker just like the Reapers can. So you're just not getting the perks of your second base. Instead, you've spent money on a Nexus, which is like a giant placeholder, and you're trying to fight to just recover control of the place you expanded to.
Yeah, and with a bunker even further back than it typically is with a bunker like this, it's going to be really hard for Creator to actually snipe that SCV, and until you can snipe the SCV, unless you have a lot of gateway units.
Yep, see, like I said, he could just immediately disappear in there.
It's going to cost so much mining time. Now, luckily, the probes are covered by the shield battery here in the bottom right, but that adept solo on HP actually gets overcharged because he does not want to lose that unit.
Dude,
it's worth the
control
energy.
is like perfect.
Oh, no. And for a player as emotional as Creator, even though he is eventually going to clean this up, now the Reapers are going to get into the main base. And there's double Cyclone coming into the natural.
Dude, he's so good.
Oh, this might just be game. I know that it's not going to end right now, but this is so much damage.
Oh, he pulls away. Okay.
I mean, this is just such a... It's a knife in your ribs, basically, you're his Creator. This hurts.
So back at home, I mean, Terrence seems to be powering up on 2 bases. Creator's finally getting started with his Blink as well as his Stalkers. There are now 4 Cyclones on the map.
Yeah, but with 4 Stalkers here, he should be able to micro pretty well against these Cyclones. Yeah, catching them, will be able to 2-shot. Oh, just doesn't get it. Oh. Well, we're going for the Cyclone sandwich right now. We'll be able to trade these out cost efficiently, at least with the Stalkers. Oh, Maru's so good.
Yeah, I mean,
I was hoping that would go better for Creator, because 4 Stalkers like that, if you get the pounce on the Cyclones and Terran's a little bit slow in reaction, then it can snowball the fight in your favor. But instead, Maru able to trade out cost efficiently. 3 for 3 is... It's a pretty big win as far as Terran is concerned, especially given the position of those units in the middle of the map.
So, look, I think Creator survives that nicely. The Cyclones, shutting that down was definitely a needed occurrence here for Creator's sake.
It wasn't as bad for Creator as I was worried it might be.
And Maru on 2 base here. I mean, we don't have a 3rd command center started. So,
oh, there's no bunker here in the natural expansion. Actually, these Stalkers could get a lot of value done.
You know, he could try to come in and try to do a push, but I feel like this is definitely a more manageable position overall here for Creator. Like, I think he can get his 3rd base up. He's going to get his tech up. I think a 3-base Maru going into a later game is a lot scarier than a 2-base. And I think Creator has proven he's pretty good at defending.
That was some really good control by Maru, by the way. Those 4 Stalkers can one-shot these Marines without combat shields. But Maru was doing such a good job of lifting up the Marines to the medevac to dodge the particle from the Stalker shot.
Yeah.
He only lost one of them. Without a bunker, that's impressive. Now Maru continuing to build up back at home. It is 3 racks with siege tanks, and I wonder if this is going to eventually culminate into some kind of siege tank push on the third base, because against these blink openings, it can be really hard to deal with. A siege tank push that quickly arrives at the third.
Yeah, he's going to try to come out. Now, I think if Protoss shuts this down, this is going to be big. Yeah. I think it's going to be a very manageable late game. Look at that little move there. Throw the tank in the front like that. Scans can oftentimes telegraph the intentions of the Terran, so Creator reacts immediately when he sees that scan come down there.
Ooh, be careful. Line of sight blocker working in Maru's favor. He trades 1 Marine for 1 Stalker, now sets his eyes on this third base. Colossus is in production, not done just yet. Cyclone actually activates the shield on the Immortal. It's going to take away a lot of the potential HP once this engagement comes to a head. And there is 1 Colossus, but no Thermal Lance. And actually, Creator just going to pounce on this position. Those Stalkers should be able to easily get rid of that siege tank. And actually bleeding forward, let's see if we have a recall into the main base. Maru's got to be really careful going into the main like this.
Yeah, I got to say, if this main drop goes well, it's huge. But if it's shut down, Maru is going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that is a bold move from Maru to come into the main base, knowing the Blink Stalkers are on the field. One of the medevacs barely surviving. And somehow Maru's going to be able to get the Forge and potentially get away scot-free with these units? That is insane to me!
Are you serious?
I can't believe that did not get punished by Creator.
Oh my god! I mean, I was watching that medevac the whole time thinking, okay, surely this is going to be shot down. Maru gets out. And by the way, the Forge was about the biggest thing you can kill there.
Yeah.
Because this means he's going to, if he can make the game last, he's going to be in a very good spot upgrade-wise. The third command center is starting here for Maru. It's very, very late. Maru probably didn't get enough damage done like he needed to for this to be a meaningful 2-base aggression play. I think overall it was still a win for Creator, but again, the Forge is big.
Yeah, Creator's defense was absolutely on point there at the third base. We only have 1 more Forge coming in. It's going to be a Templar Archives again. I'm wondering if this is for Storm or if Creator is just going to go full man mode. Morphin Archons and trying to hit a timing attack at the third base, knowing that he has the momentum from shutting down that first push.
You know what? I mean, if he was going to do it, I think this game would certainly serve him better. Because he's in a much weaker spot here. We got the medevacs coming down, and he's going to get intercepted by these 4 Stalkers, if he can see this in time.
Yeah, they're not really patrolling that far. Creator's got to spot this instantly and react, but instead he doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like he left that a little bit too far away from the corner. I feel like when you get drops that are going to be, you know, to the main like that, they're tucked way on the edge of the map.
Yeah, so unlucky for Creator, not getting the snipe that he wanted, but at least he knew the drop was coming, and that means that Maru will have to retreat and go back home. And yeah, it is just going to be Archons and additional gateways, so looking like a +1 ground weapon timings with Archons, with Colossi, and a ton of gateway units will be coming down Maru's third base in a moment. I wonder, actually, do we have a Warp Prism already on the map? I haven't seen, yeah, we do. So this aggression is going to get started really quickly, I think, here for Creator. You do not want to give Maru more time to get set up at that third base.
I mean, Creator's got a beautiful macro setup. He's going to have a 5th base in a second here. This is an uphill fight for Maru, no doubt. Okay, he's going to push. Now, the question is, can he orchestrate this attack effectively? Is he going to overstep? He's going to push it now. SCVs are pulled to go to the front.
Oh, I like that move by Creator, just inching forward with the Stalkers, picking off 1 Viking and peeling away. That's a very tough angle to attack into, especially with the SCVs pulled like that. So second Robo going to come in as well as the second Forge. Creator does not want to repeat the same mistake as the previous game where he focused a little bit too much on the early game timing push and did not have a transition into the late game. This time it will be double Forge upgrades. He's getting Warp Prism speed. He's adding in Disruptors with his second Robo significantly faster than he did previously. at least in terms of his relative position to Maru in this game, and the Dark Shrine coming in as well. So Creator's looking to try and just basically barrel down Maru with multi-pronged aggression, with a Warp Prism speed. And his standing army here in the center, he's maxed. He could actually bring this fight to Maru if he wants to.
Now Maru's going to move out. He's pulling the SCV, so he basically wants to swing this game real hard. He wants to turn this on its head. He needs to kill all of the technical units. And if he can do that and the SCV's tank, he can do it. But if this backfires, Maru's basically dead.
All right, first Disruptor shot coming in. Nice split there by Maru. Only loses one Marauder. The second Disruptor's all the way down by the third base. But so far, this push not really getting too much done here. And Creator's warping into the main base with the Time Zealots. This is going to force Maru into an even more all-in position.
Oh! Now again, all Creator has to do is play keep away and buy more time. Another Disruptor shot comes in here.
One more coming in, two more actually as the Disruptor finishes. Battery overcharge getting a lot done here for Creator, adding a lot more firing power and sustain here on this army on the ground, but Maru is barreling through the natural expansion. But keep in mind, this expansion is only one of many of Creator. Yes, he is losing the Robos, but Maru is losing his entire economy in the main base. And Creator, I love this play. He is recalling to set up a surround on this army. Just recalled a ton of his forces to his fourth base.
He's going to try to come in here from behind, but if Maru gets up the ramp and it's just Stalkers, he might be out of position.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of key infrastructure here in the main base.
What is he doing?
Wait, is he going to go for the counterattack? He's going to try and base trade this instead?
But Terran is generally better in base trade, so I don't know if the theory is very good here. I mean, let's see how this plays out, but I think he realized he recalled too much back. If he had sandwiched that in the natural, it would be a different story.
So Creator, he is building additional production at these bases, at the fourth and at the fifth. Now, he's adding in another Robo.
The army supply is pretty even here. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's 54 workers for Creator right now.
Tasteless, there's DTs on the map. That's why he's going for the counterattack. He wants to lift all of the orbitals because there's no solution except EMP here for Maru.
You're right.
He might be underestimating the count of ghosts and how high their energy is.
Yeah, I mean, EMP is still an answer.
Still, these DTs can get a lot done. Even forcing out EMPs is some value, but that's so many ghosts. Creator's going to have to come back home and fight this head on, I think.
Okay, I mean, this is continuing to sweep through. Remember that these buildings can always land. He can always make mules. He can always claim something else. Okay, here comes the first DT.
DT
there's EMP,
there's
and that
EMP.
DT is gone. Now, there's not a lot of middle. By the way, he's supply blocked. So I don't know how many. There's one other DT out on the map, so I don't know if the DT play is going to be viable.
Okay, Disruptor shot going to come in. Or does lose one Marauder. Every unit is critical in moments like these.
There's more SCVs here in the front to tank.
That Disruptor buying time for the cannon and shield battery to finish. This is a nice arc here for Creator. His army supply so far ahead of Maru's. Probe's getting pulled.
Takes out the Robo.
It's a nice win for Maru, but I just don't think he has enough army on the ground anymore.
Yeah,
Creator's
like
gotten too big.
This is too good, what he's got. A blink in, not too effective. That Warp Prism very low on HP.
GG. Creator played that so patiently. It was a gutsy call going for the counterattack, but it worked. Creator had just expanded and taken so much of the map that Maru just really did not have the time to take down all these individual bases and prevent Creator from growing into a position where Creator was just going to have way too much for Maru to stop. And we're all tied up, 1-1, Tasteless.
Hey man, that was a big win for Creator. I'm really happy to see that. I do think that Maru opened up in a way that was like, it was pretty interesting. I think the ideas there were pretty sound. Getting the Reaper with the bunker behind the expansion, trying something a little bit cheeky with the 4 Cyclones coming out. But, you know, the 2-base play from that and the fact that all Creator had to do was get up to 5 bases macro and then hold off the all-in from Maru, because Maru, I think, rightly so identified that he's behind. You know, when you're that behind, you don't want to just try to play a 15-minute uphill game. You want to try to do something to turn the tides.
Yeah,
and it didn't work. So we're going to go into Game 3.
Creator is feeling the adrenaline right now after that win. You can see him talking to himself, walking himself through the next build, maybe saying some words of affirmations, getting ready to go into game number 3. He's shown that Maru can bleed here in TVP. Creator, he's 2 map wins away from going to the finals. Can he stop the GSL god? Let's go into game number 3.
Okay, Maru in the bottom right, Creator in the top left. And, you know, I think that Creator did a great job hanging on there, but I do think Maru kind of gimped himself by getting into a 2-base game there. Versus a rush, didn't do that much. We really love StarCraft too.
I love that.
From Taiwan here from Maru.
So many global fans here at the GSL. I love this venue. I mean, it is packed. This is a huge arena. So much bigger than a typical GSL studio.
Yeah, and the seating layout's very cool. I mean, no matter where you are, you can pretty much get a good view of what's going on. It's got that kind of descending seats, so everybody... I don't know. I love this venue. I'm glad we got to do this for this season of GSL.
It's a fitting venue for a GSL finals.
I think so. But you know what I was going to say is that I worry that if Maru just plays macro play, like just gets 3 bases, doesn't try anything too out there early on, that maybe Creator can parry or shut down. Can Creator hang? Because that's really the issue, is that Maru, like the other very best players in the whole world, is basically a perfect production engine. He does not misstep. He does not forget depots. He knows exactly how to develop. He knows when he's in a macro mode, like we saw in Game 2, to just then switch into an all-in because he's not going to catch back up. Which is one unique mechanic that Terran has, because SCVs can just be thrown into their opponents and suicided, and Mules can still land and get some money to kind of pump out the last little bit of forces to maybe close out a game.
Yeah, especially if Creator continues to play a similar style to the way he played in Game number 1 and Game number 2. I feel like Maru going for a fast 3rd base and just anchoring the defense until he has whittled down the mostly gateway army of Creator that he can exert map control, it's going to be scary for the Protoss player. By the way, this Reaper basically juking and jiving, finding its way cross map. Creator somehow, again, not losing any probes. It's always a scary moment when that Reaper gets to the main base and the Adept is moving cross map. But Creator, both in Game 2 and Game number 3, with some really nice probe micro, mitigating a ton of damage. As Adept Shade is going to come in, should not see that 3rd base unless the Shade is allowed to complete. But of course, you allow that Shade to complete and that Adept is gone.
Yeah, it'll be killed off. Over here for Creator, I mean, this is kind of the same stuff we've already seen a couple times. It's going to be Blink Stalkers. I wouldn't be surprised if he basically goes Blink Stalker into 3rd base every game.
Yeah, it is the most versatile PBT opening by a lot.
It's like, it's a macro build. You can deal with drops. You can hold off other weird stuff Terran might do.
A lot of players go into Oracle these days in PBT, but that's not so much Creator's style, I think. I would be surprised if he brought that out here in this best of 5. And it's actually going to be 4-gate Blink coming in for Creator. Now, this is a map that is a lot more favorable for Blink than the other maps that we had so far in this series.
Some of the pros I talked to, they say this is still actually really hard to stop. There was a period where everybody was doing it, and I think it just sort of went out of style because Terrans get too good at dealing with it. It is stronger if the Terrans in the top left because their add-ons are sticking out more. But the idea is that you can go right into the main, and if the Terran can't control the first minute of the rush, they just fall apart. So what you need about 3 tanks. 1 in the main, 1 on the ramp, and then 1 in the natural expansion. And you need probably 2 bunkers, 1 in the main and 1 in the natural.
Yeah, but with the build that Maru is going for, this really fast 3rd command center, and he's going to get to the main base. How many gateways did he get to spot? He sees the 2nd one being added here in the main.
So
Does
that
he
doesn't
know
give it away.
4?
Oh, did he count? Did he scout the one?
He might have seen the natural expansion because otherwise this second bunker does not make sense.
I stand corrected that he has seen 4 gates. Yeah, so he knows what's coming. That Reaper scout is huge. Then he's pulling his army into the middle of the map, which is the right move. Keep in mind, if you blink in and don't identify that their army is in their main, they'll just stim and kill you. The Stalkers need to have some distance.
Yeah, this is a tough break here for Creator. Maru is going for basically the bio style with bunkers because he went for such a fast 3rd base. He can't really rely on the siege tanks to anchor the defense early on.
Oh, this looks so much like a warp in.
Yeah, position getting revealed. But I mean, the cat's already out of the bag. Creator has to go for it. I wouldn't mind him just blinking right on top of the natural expansion. Indeed, he does. Repairs coming in. Creator instead going to focus down on the SCVs. That first bunker will fall. With a warp prism, he's able to basically have a budget blink behind that first initial one. And this is the window where Creator can try and get some damage done because there's no medevacs out yet. The siege tank production has not begun. You want to get any damage you can. He's going to go for it again. One more shot. Should be able to take down that bunker. Indeed, it does. And any damage sustained by this bio is basically permanent damage. Stim is done. Oof. Blink is happening. That's not a bad trade there for Creator. Maru lost a lot of HP to that Stim.
He might have to stim one more time and try to just keep doing damage. He's got the SCVs here in the front.
But more Marauders getting focused down. Now the standing army here for Maru has lost a lot of its firepower.
The
Creator
third base starts.
Behind it, taking a third base. We're going to see another warp-in of 3 or 4 Stalkers, I believe. Yeah, 4 Stalkers popping right now.
And, I mean, the bunker's been filled back up. It does feel like this has almost been stopped. He's ready to blink into the main. He sees that the Marauders are there. The repair is going to come down over here. But, again, he can stem forward now. A lot of shields were lost on those Stalkers, and then they were killed off. Nice pickup there to keep the injured Stalker alive.
Until Maru has some medevacs on the map, there's a big window for Creator to continue to get damage done like this. He's blinking forward, he's trading Stalkers for bio, and as long as he's mitigating the growth of the Terran. Oh, another blink forward. Another Marauder gets sniped down. These Marines also falling. A little bit shaky micro here from Creator as he's trying to kite back these Stalkers on the top side, but Maru's starting to lose a lot of momentum.
It's working. He's starting to do it. Now there's a medevac out here. The Stalker count's still pretty high. There's been a lot of SCVs killed off here. He might want to try to blink into the main. I think that's actually pretty exposed. He's got the Warp Prism ready.
I think from here, Creator's going to try and transition. He's going for this drop in the main base. And yeah, Colossus production has begun as well as +1. The window where he can get a lot of damage done with the Blink Stalkers is closing because these medevacs are out. Oh, what a nice snipe by the Stalkers, take down the medevacs. Playing this style of PvT here as Creator, being able to control the starport unit count of Terran is critical to the success, especially since Colossus is the follow-up. Again, some really nice micro from Creator. You can tell he wants to get Marauders, he wants to get medevacs with these Stalkers because anything that he can get as a kill is going to allow him to expand the window where he can kill Maru when he goes for that third base. And given the way Creator approached both Game 1 and Game 2, I think that's probably the game plan again here in Game 3.
Yeah, you know, I love the one-shotting of the Marauders if he can get them. He's trying to see if he can take any out on the way. Good blink aways. The third base is going to land here. And it looks like Protoss has intentions to expand up at 12 o'clock. But ultimately, Maru survives. He is still very much going to be pushing. This is really where the tides turn. Now, with the Colossus out and a second one about to pop from that Robo, he has a chance to hold this, but he's got to be careful. Bad positioning, like losing a Colossus, overextending, anything like that could cost you the game as well.
It's the same for Maru. Both Maru and Creator got to be really careful with these next couple of engagements.
Now, there's no SCVs pulled, by the way. I just want to be clear about that. So Maru is basically behaving like he could push in and try to get a kill. He could just kind of roam the map, shark around, and look for anything that's open that he can punish. And he decides to go back home. He's going to keep teching up. He's got his Ghost Academy on the way. And, yeah.
Sorry, fourth Nexus coming in now for Creator. Throwing down a ton of Archives as well. And with +1 finishing as well as Charge, I'm wondering how aggressive Protoss is going to be because Creator, he's still playing a relatively low probe count. He just passed 65 as he's getting ready to saturate that fourth base. Another Widowmine drop coming in. Oh, I love this position here from Creator. Should just be able to take this down immediately, but a little bit slow on the reaction time. Could have blinked forward and taken out that medevac. Instead, it will be able to drop these Widowmines. 4 kills down there in the natural expansion, but overall a win here for Creator.
So we're getting into big game. Creator was not able to kill Maru off with that push. Maru was not able to find any kind of counterplay when he finally had medevacs. He finally had sustainability in the middle of the map. Both sides are rapidly teching up. We're continuing to see more and more ghosts get incorporated into the rest of the army. Terran has ambitions of getting a fourth base, probably at 6 o'clock to match the 12 o'clock expand here for Creator. And we got to remember, when we get into a deep late game with these two players, Maru on paper is just bigger, faster, stronger. So can Creator hang in this extremely important moment? It does seem like Creator has hinged a lot of his success so far in this best of 5 at basically stopping the Terran before it starts. Whether that was a punish as Terran was trying to develop into a third base, or trying to abuse Blink and basically hit Terran before they had all the tools necessary to stop attacks at the front as well as attacks in the main.
But notably in this game, Maru has been slowed down a lot in terms of growth. He's only just now getting the second Engineering Bay and Armory, so it's 1-1 here for Maru against what I believe is +2 ground weapons for Protoss, which is the best upgrade advantage or differential that Creator has had basically all series. coming in here against Maru, and there's also not that many starport units, so Maru has to be very careful moving out to the center of the map because Creator's army can actually get some big damage done, especially once disruptors are added to the mix, given how ghost heavy Maru has been playing the mid game. The disruptors, as well as the second robo, an excellent addition here for Creator. You see Zealots running into the natural expansion, going to try and get some SCVs. Will get cleaned up though.
Okay, nice kill on some of those SCVs. A blink in doesn't get much done.
Creator is trying to find an opening where Maru overextends himself, but so far Maru's been very patient.
Yeah, he's played a very clean game so far, Maru has. We see a serious push coming out here. Enough Vikings to take out the Colossi if they're not covered by the Stalkers. The Stalker's actually going to be shaved down to a number. Oh my god, he even gets the Warp Prism, and the Archon's isolated.
I don't think Creator was expecting this move out coming in from Maru.
That was kind of a clumsy play, a premature shield there when range attacks aren't inbound just yet.
Nice blink forward by Creator, able to pick off one of these Vikings.
And this is the tug of war that Maru is so good at, that I just worry over time the trade outs are going to be really bad. He dodges that perfectly, and it looks like he's going to rotate up towards the top of the map. Now, the expansions are free for the Terran while this move is happening. We just got to see, you know, can Creator get some good trades in here? Can he get some kills? Can he shave this down? Because Maru is so known for basically never overextending.
Maru's army control's been so good. He takes his engagement. That first Colossus gets taken down. The disruptor shot basically whiffs. Barely catches any bio. Creator continuing to try and poke and prod at all these starport units, but Maru's been so good this game in particular at keeping Vikings and medevacs back. Yeah, the medevac count, it is not as high as Maru would like, so these stims are going to take a long time to replenish in terms of HP.
Now, the spread of disruptors kind of creates this area Terran can never really commit into, right? One shot should push him back. If Terran were to try to dive, the other two shots would come in and probably wipe the army out. But at the same, oh, hold on, there's a little Zealot attack over here. Basically what I was going to say a second ago is, the thing is, Maru's still expanding. He's still growing. He's getting to that point where he has extra command centers, which are soon going to be extra orbitals, which soon means he's going to have so many mules and so many bases. It's very tough for the Protoss to stand up to it. And also, there's a cumbersomeness with the Protoss army just in this phase of the game. The Archons, the Colossus, they're not that fast, they're not that mobile. And so counterattacks are scary for the Protoss right now. Protoss can try to rely on these Zealots we see that are being filtered across the map in various areas, but it seems like Maru's basically ready for that as well.
But at the same time, Creator has entered the late game with the best footing he's had all series. He's able to fill out his tech tree. His Forge upgrades are ahead of the Terran in terms of 3-1 versus 2-2. With more upgrades coming in, starport transition coming through. Maru's been expanding very slowly with a low worker count. I'm liking Creator's position here. I know that Maru is a god of the late game in basically every single matchup, but Creator has played so well to get to this point. But let's watch the army movement. Keep a close eye at the 9 o'clock with Maru posturing with that army. Might run into the natural expansion to try and snipe it, and indeed he does. Stim coming through. This should force a recall.
Yeah, where's that recall? We don't see it yet. And I think Maru says, where's that recall too?
Yeah, he's being a little bit timid.
Yeah. A little warp in over here to try to kill off some more workers. I gotta say, Creator is playing a great late game, even 2 DTs in the mix. Terran scans and wipes that out in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about the DCs being added here, though, because a lot of what Creator is trying to do right now is very gas-intensive in terms of the double forge, the Stargate transition, blink DTs.
So, Maru's growth, he's getting in both directions. To the north. Oh, hold on a second. Another attack in.
Wow, what a hit.
Big connect there.
Got 3 ghosts go down. Storm also able to get a lot of damage done on the bio ball on the right side. Creator playing an excellent defensive game, pairing both the push through the middle by Maru and the attack at the top right side.
So, Protoss is going to come down. He might get sandwiched here. We've got some more Terran coming down here from the top. Nice EMPs there on the Archon, and it gets picked off.
Yeah, but it seems like Creator's actually ready to push this position. He's been gaining some momentum for a while now with 3-2 already finished up. These 4 disruptors locked and loaded, ready to go for the engage. Maru coming in for this round. Disruptor shot. First one gets defused. The second one does connect. Vikings are taking down the Colossi in the center of the map. There isn't any Storm left, and the Gateway Army might not just be enough. But look at the bio, it's solo on HP.
Yeah, he does drop the army down in supply, but there's still an Immortal, a Colossus, there's still a Disruptor, there's still enough complexity that it's going to be hard for the Terran to deal with. The problem is I don't know that he can push it any further. He needs to make some more Archons, he's going to get some more Zealots, he's going to try to find the weak spot, the soft spot, the place that he can hit, the place that he can punish.
Yeah, but with Liberators coming in like this, Creator's going to have to move around the map and try and find another angle of attack because these Liberators paired up with this Bio Ball are so good at anchoring a position. Maru stimming forward, going to try and catch this Immortal. The Disruptor shot should be able to shield it, and indeed it does. That Immortal now retreating. As that last engagement went about as straight down the middle as it possibly could. Dead even army supplies after that fight. And even now, 116 for Creator, 120 for Maru. Both these players filling out their tech trees. What a treat of a late game PvP.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. Again, I'm just a little bit worried there's going to be too many command centers dotting the Terran side of the map coming up here.
Nuka's going to be coming down here on the natural expansion. As Maru's posturing over here in the top right, Creator does seem ready for him, but can he actually deal with this ballooning Liberator count? There is very little anti-air on the ground. The Stalkers are going for a flank on the Liberators. Disruptor shot going to try and pop, but should get defused by Maru. Indeed, it does. Stalkers are high enough in number to one-shot these Liberators, but this expansion is going to go down tasteless.
He's able to take this out. Looks like that nuke did land. A counterattack comes here from Creator. He does not have anywhere near as big of an army. The angling's going to be very tough for him as well. The Liberators set up a nice storm there on the Vikings, but none of them are killed, so they can still snipe that Colossus.
Those Vikings all getting put into the red, but Creator is hurting for money so bad right now. Stalkers are going to be able to pick off at least one of these Vikings, but 16 probes going down, both to the nuke and that Cloak Ghost. That expansion falling in the top right with Maru continuously expanding across his side of the map. Creator needs a miracle win, and I don't know if he has the units to do it, Tasteless. Maru is pushing down on this third base, and Creator's time in this game might just be up.
Yeah, Creator is in a very bad spot because I don't know if he can recover. He's got a big army. We got to see how this fight goes. Now, Maru knows he doesn't have to commit. He doesn't have to over-engage. Is that a nuke?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, that's going to take out another 12 probes. Creator is just trying to dance between this army, see whatever damage he can get done, and then get away again. But the problem is that these other bases that aren't really protected are either getting nuked or they're getting hit with small amounts of Marines. Again, Maru is just getting an engine economically that is so scary. He is maxed out. The minerals, they're piling up. So is the gas.
For Creator to come back in this game, he needs to have one of the best fights of his life. He needs one of the best engagements he could possibly hope for. So far, Maru hasn't given him an opening. Let's see if this is it. EMP raining down on all of those Archons, solo on HP, and the Stalker count dissipating. Not enough to deal with the Liberators. Maru stimming forward. I think he's about to take a 2-1 lead.
Okay, that's going to be it. That's it. Creator cannot recover. That was all that he had. This is going to be a 2-1. GG.
Wow, what a game. Creator got into the late game on the best footing that he had all series.
Yeah.
But Maru was just so smart with his positioning. He never overstepped. And Creator tried the best he possibly could to catch Maru's army in a position where it might be vulnerable, but the control and map awareness from Maru was so on point, especially with that low SCV count because of that really fast orbital transition. Maru basically played with, what, 66 SCVs, almost the majority of that game? 130 plus army supply of Ghosts with, what, almost 10 Vikings, a ton of Liberators. It was too much to deal with the kind of meager splash damage that Creator had.
We're young and crank here in the audience. Man, I don't know. We saw a shot of Creator's face a second ago. He did not look too happy. I don't feel like he looked like he was on full tilt. I don't want to psychoanalyze this too much. But I'll tell you what, that loss was painful. That loss was frustrating. That loss, from my vantage point, it just seemed like one of those losses where the game feels impossible. We've all had these moments you're playing against somebody and it just seems like they have such control of the ebb and flow of everything that no matter how you try to take the game, no matter what direction you go to, you end up in a dead end. You cannot figure out where you went wrong, how you're going to get back on top. You know, it doesn't seem like he can be aggressive early on and make it work. It doesn't seem like his late game, if he tries to go toe-to-toe with Maru, works either.
And going back to the early game there, that was a fantastic early game that Creator played with 4-gate blink. He was able to blink on top of all those bunkers. He took them down repeatedly. He was able to shave away Medivacs take down. Marauders, SCVs fell. But still, Maru was able to hold on with his 3 orbital commands, was able to transition into the mid and late game that he plays so well in TVP. And it felt like Creator, even though he had that fantastic start, was never able to truly build the momentum off of that. Instead, it was more about him equalizing going into the late game, where once again he was getting outplayed by Maru. And so coming into map number 4, I'm not sure exactly what the map is going to be, but I almost think Creator needs to try and mix things up a little bit in terms of either how he's getting to the late game or how he's playing in the early game with aggression.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that late game seems to be this kind of impossible thing for Creator to beat Maru in. It's something where I look at it and I go like, well, what exactly are you supposed to do? It just seems like Maru keeps his presence on the map so solid, and then he just sprinkles these command centers everywhere. Sure, warp prisms can be sent across the map, and you can try crazy warp-ins. You can try hiding pylons and setting zealots out there, but it does get cleaned up. And then again, the back and forth is just too good from Maru.
I feel like Creator, with these late games armies, just isn't really getting enough AoE damage in. Basically, every game where he's going to the mid or late, it's about 4 Disruptors and 3 Colossi. We don't have more Disruptors added in than that.
Right.
And we have Storm very sparingly mixed in to the mix. And from there, I mean, for Creator, if you're in this kind of sustained engagement with Maru where it lasts a very long time, eventually those Vikings are going to whittle away the Colossus count. Or they're going to take so much hull damage that they basically become glass cannons that evaporate as soon as the battle really commences.
Right.
And Maru, barring 1 or 2 exceptions out of like 20 or 30 shots, has been so on point in terms of dodging those 4 Disruptors. I'm not really sure what adjustment Creator needs to add into the mix. Maybe it's going into Storm a little bit faster. Maybe it's adding more Disruptors into the mix. Or if you're going to play this very gateway-heavy style with Archons. Oh, what's up, Gemini? G9L, yeah, maybe, man.
Probably tasteless is, wait for it, sexy, okay. G9L, okay, we're going to read more. I'll take that. I don't know where that was going. I'm like, all right, Gemini, I'm either going to be really happy or really mad at you with whatever you put there.
But with this gateway-heavy army that Creator is playing, it just doesn't feel like it's really... It doesn't feel like it's the pieces that he needs to win in the late game. It's the kind of army that has a lot of firepower because it scales so rapidly in the mid-game. But once you get into the mid-game, something else has to be added into the mix. I think you need to start a mothership. You need to get into carriers, or you need to go more heavy into AoE, whether that be Disruptors or Storm.
I think carriers, maybe.
Maybe.
You know, again, though, I do feel like Maru, he seems to know. It wasn't Maru that just started making like a ton of turrets in the middle of the map and then expanded everywhere, and like that looked like a foolish decision as well.
Yeah, I think that was on Alcine against maybe, what, Stats or Classic. It was crazy.
We're loving your signs, guys. So good to see you. It's packed down here. It's been an amazing final day so far. We're obviously not to the finals just yet. It is looking like it should be Maru advancing, but we'll see if Creator can pull it together. Creator did request a small break. Each player is allowed 1 break. They usually don't use it, but I think Creator always does.
And for him being, you know, such an emotional player, I think it's good for him to try and reset himself in a position like this one.
Yeah, I mean, just take a breather, figure out, okay, is my mindset wrong? Am I spacing out? Sometimes this happens when you're like really under a lot of pressure, as your thoughts are racing. You're like having weird conversations in your head, like in a really important tournament moment where you really just need to kind of turn everything off and go through the motions. And you have to kind of kill that inner voice that's inside of you.
I feel like any time that you're in a situation like this one as Creator, and I'm not saying this is what he's going through, but if you're in a spot where you lose confidence during a series, you need to get that back mentally to be able to win. Confidence, it's something that's hard to really capture the importance of in a series, but I feel like having it as a player is so critical. Being able to believe in yourself and your ability to win. If you play scared, you will not be a champion.
Yeah.
And so Creator collecting himself after this break, now getting ready to fight with his tournament life on the line against the greatest Terran player of all time. It's a Herculean task to try and take Maru down here in the semifinals.
It's a real David versus Goliath match here. Look, he already won one game.
Yeah.
He just has to win two. Maru probably already with his head in the finals versus Dark. Let's see if Creator can recover or if Maru moves on to the finals here. Game 4 is ready. Okay, Creator in the top, Maru in the bottom. No proxies yet from Maru. Creator has basically gone for some pretty sophisticated timing attacks as, you know, either in the middle of mid-game or as mid-game starts up. We have not had a full-on passive game from him. I don't think we're going to have one here, although if he does it, I mean, we're happy to talk about it. I welcome it. I just don't feel like the series can go in that direction for him. I think it's indisputable that Maru just gets to this point where he has all the stuff he needs army-wise. He has, you know, like a top Zerg level amount of knowledge of where everything is on the map. He's kind of controlling everything. And then he just sort of has this dance he does outside the Protoss' perimeter where he trades pretty effectively, eliminates opportunities later on for the Protoss, and eventually the Protoss is kind of boxed in. And I think Creator has to figure out how to avoid that. And I feel like he's tried to, but every time he tries to hold Maru down, Maru kind of wriggles free and gets back to where he needs to be.
Yeah, and Creator both in game 1 and in game number 3 was really playing two styles that are trying to muscle over the Terran in the early game or the mid game. And Maru does such a good job of taking damage, but not taking so much damage that he can't recover. And eventually, inevitably, finding his way into a late game where he's maxed with a high ghost count, with a low SCV count, and has all the pieces that he needs to win the game. And when you let Maru get in a position like that, in TVP, it is so hard to beat him because he's not the kind of guy that's going to get caught out of position. He's not the kind of guy that's going to lose a mid-row line to Zealots charging into his natural or his third. He is so on point, and you were talking about Zerg, top Zerg level map awareness. That's absolutely what Maru has. He just has this incredible game sense as if he's playing without the fog of war. He just has a read on his opponent so well. And so Creator, despite playing these styles who peak in terms of their strength in the mid game, is still not being able to find the openings that he needs.
It feels like when you watch Maru, he knows, like, after he kills one Warp Prism, he's like already got a clock in his head of when the next Warp Prism will be out of the Robo, and then the amount of time it takes for it to be on his side of the map. He's so good at picking them off all the time, or guessing when the next wave of Zealots that are going to run around the map and then try to run into one side of his base or the other are going to, like, you know, he has that all kind of mathed out, and so he's able to do this dance so neatly. Now, this game, it is once more Citadel opening. I don't think we're going to have any non-Citadel openings versus Terran today. Or Twilight Council, excuse me. I'm using StarCraft 1 terms now here. Twilight Council.
We know what you mean,
You know what I mean, guys. The building before Templar Archives. So, he is just going to tech and a blink again. I guess the question is how many gates and how soon or late will the third be?
Oh, and it's going to be a Cloak Banshee opening coming in from Maru now. Dep's got some good damage done on that Hellion. So Maru not able to get the full scout off in the main base as he did in previous times during this series. And I wonder how Creator is going to play against this Cloak Banshee, because if he's able to navigate the early game where Maru comes with 1 or 2 Cloak Banshees and is trying to get probe kills without sustaining damage, that could be the kind of momentum builder that Creator needs to thrive in the mid game and really punish Maru. Because think back to the game that Creator won. Maru went for this kind of cheeky play with the 4 Cyclones. I think the Reapers and the Bunkers really got a lot of value out of them, but the Cyclones absolutely did not. They slowed Terran down a little bit, even though they did trade out cost efficiently. And then when Maru hedged his bets on that 2-base timing and Creator was able to parry it, that was just Creator riding the momentum into the mid-game for a win. And if he can do the same thing here by deflecting the Banshees, I feel like this might be one of his paths to success.
So yeah, Maru with a kind of different set of ideas. coming in here. That Banshee's going to wrap all the way around here. 5 seconds out from Cloak. And he's going to try to generate a little bit of a distraction here, moving out with his Marines, excuse me, and tank. And see if he can't just start to get a couple kills. That's a mess up. He shot the assimilator and then staggered the shots on the probes. Oh my God. Okay, so quite a misclick there. But this is still going to head over here. Now Blink is done.
Yeah, Blink is done, but Crater hasn't had the map presence to actually slow down this push. One of the big parts of holding this push as Protoss is being able to whittle down the Marine count as they move cross map.
I guess the Observer, sorry, where is the Observer right now?
It's right now in the natural expansion.
Oh, I see it now, okay. Well, I mean, this is a shocking time to push in. I don't feel like we ever see the 2 Banshee Marine only siege tank push, but here we are.
No.
No way!
2 gateways and a robo unpowered here in the natural expansion, but there might just be enough Protoss on the ground. I mean, the Stalker's blinking forward. They're able to get on top of the siege tank, mitigating the splash damage, so they will be able to clean up the Banshees. The Immortal finished just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
If that pylon went down half a second earlier, I think this is a Maru win. But because that Immortal finished, Crater is able to sustain.
You got to assume that's there to kill that pylon, by the way. I don't understand any other way you would attack in with that. I don't think I've ever seen this little move from Maru or any Terran ever, really.
Yeah,
it's 2 Banshees, you know, what, 9 Marines and a tank.
It feels like a Wings of Liberty 1-1-1 push almost.
Yeah, where you're like, wait a minute, you don't have medevacs and you just die?
It looked like it might be one of these timing pushes that has the opportunity to get big damage done, though, because Creator teched so heavily on 2 bases into a third. He's investing all these resources in the Robo Bay and the Forge.
The Robo is oftentimes at the natural, too, so I guess if you just kind of find this, like, one weak point, and you just kill those pylons, then I guess everything shuts down, you know, and maybe you can actually just increment out Marines and tanks and Banshees, and I don't know, maybe it snowballs from there. Regardless, Creator survives it.
And I'm now liking his odds a lot better here in this game. I'm thinking back to the previous game that he won when he was able to stop early tank aggression. And he was able to ride that momentum. The armies that Creator has been building in the mid-game have been so good at straight-up fights. It's just that Maru has been able to barely survive by good army positioning, by good control. He's just not taking the kind of game-ending damage. But when you get momentum like this here as Creator, if you play the same style, which it seems like he is, with +1 and charge, both underway, as well as additional gateways being added into the mix, then suddenly here for Terran, it is very hard to stop.
So look, I don't think the Creator has any real opportunities to try to do anything like what happened in the last game, because this was really all about Creator kind of reacting to what Maru was trying to do, which, by the way, I think what Maru did was very novel, and it's kind of cool to see. I can't believe how many new things I can see a Terran player do in any given game of StarCraft. But here we are. We're in that kind of production race. We're in the race of trying to get all the building blocks, all the tools put together so that you have this army that can fight in any which way. Creator's going to take another base here. This is a map where both players will be expanding towards the right side. Maru is going to move out, unless this is some kind of a feint. He is starting to move. He's got tanks with the composition. SCVs are being sent to the expansion. That is not an SCV pull.
Yeah, this is actually a lot of army that Maru has been able to muster here in the center of the map. Oh, Creator, okay, barely glimpses it here with his Stalker, so he knows this push is coming. But he's been expanding. He's been getting a second Forge for upgrades. He's not really playing the same Mantos style with a ton of gateway units. Will it be enough to actually hold on? Interference Matrix on the Colossus is able to disable it. Coming on the right side, the same thing. AoE damage has been mitigated here. For Protoss, Battery Overcharge doing a great job of adding some additional HP here on the right side. Oh, he can't lift up the Colossus there with a Warp Prism.
I don't know that he can actually survive this. Another disable on the Colossus. He picks it up. Everything else on the ground is going to go down. A lot of times we'll see the Protoss try to dive in and then run back to bait out the disables, but it didn't work.
Oh, another disable on the Colossus on the left side. Creator with these Warpins barely surviving right now at the third base, but Maru barreling down. More reinforcements streaming across the map. This siege tank still alive. 2 siege tanks surviving that push.
Now there's still one Colossus here. Again, he's right by the Robo. If he can get that pylon and kind of try to finish what he started with that initial rush, there's not going to be any more Colossi left. Another one's picked off as there's no Warp Prism to help. Auto turrets come down, and that's going to be a GG. Maru takes that series 3-1, and he'll be going up against Dark in the finals.
Creator, although he was able to get some momentum with that early push, a little bit too greedy, and Maru in one fell swoop comes across the map with a ton of bio, and so many disables, so many interference matrices popping on those Colossi. The AoE damage coming in from Creator, so mitigated. And Maru with a pretty novel strategy here in game number 4, able to take the win and secure another finals berth in the GSL. I mean, it's just unbelievable how this guy is able to make it season after season after season.
I mean, it was a great series. I think Creator did put up a good fight. I think it's too bad that Creator had to fight Maru, of all people, to try to get into this finals. I would have loved to see Creator versus Cure, Creator versus Dark, anything else. Again, though, I mean, Maru is fast-tracked to take his 9th GSL victory.
Yeah, and Maru versus Dark should be a banger of a GSL finals. I mean arguably the best Zerg in Korea, the best Carrot in Korea. What more could you ask for?
You really can't ask for two better players right now. In the current state of Korean StarCraft, this is it. So that'll be a best of 7. And we're going to be having a short break coming up here, maybe about 15 minutes, something like that. And then we're going to be going on to that.
Yeah, but Maru, I mean, 12th GSL finals, breaking his own record for the most GSL finals, as he just seems nigh unstoppable here in Korea.
Yeah, I mean, look, Maru is going to try to once again make history. Dark, I think, is probably the player with the best chance of stopping him, but it does seem like whenever these two face off, Dark does a really good job and barely loses.
Yes,
right?
Pretty succinct, Tasteless. It doesn't often feel that way. I mean, Maru's late game TVZ is matched, I feel, almost only by Serral in the world. He's the only Zerg I've seen consistently hang with Maru, but there's going to be the finals, everybody. Talon Esports Gaming's Dark versus Team Vitality's Maru.
I'm excited. I really want to see, who knows, maybe Dark takes this one. He is hungry. Again, he's another player kind of living in the shadow of Maru. Maybe not as bad as Cure, because at least this guy's a Zerg player, but this is a finals you could have had pretty much any year of modern StarCraft, by the way.
Yeah, for all of Legacy of the Void, these two have been championship caliber, and I cannot wait to get started, Tasteless. It's going to be a great finals.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a great opening of the finals before we get into this, as well as an interview. Guys, sit tight. We will be right back.
조성주 선수가요.
정황이 앞으로만 빼기 몇 번 되기도 있었고 해서
뭐 하나 잡았어요.
대박한 스크립트요.
네, 저 화력으로 밀어붙이는 상황입니다. 지제 지뢰까지 동원해요.
너무 잘 먹고 있어.
지제
차라리 공방이업인 게
너무 센데요?
힘들기도 전에 끝나겠는데요.
지제
그냥 화염차는 난입을 할 거라서 화염차는 난입을 할 거라서
불금 업그레이드 해변도 들어 다 지워버리는데요. 지제
Yeah, the battery in the back to work harder and move smarter. The goals up, grabbing out of that nada. No heartfelt, kill it like a Kinsu blade. Living trying to live this rage, at least trying to get it into ways that can benefit the pay. Cause I can't stop the flip, so increase the intent how I press this page. No mark, ain't ended until it's not met. It's contender until it's upended. Suspense ain't agenda, consensus ain't met with content. You comprehend, penalty failure, no missing that boss. Cause I pocket my slots with that coffin in hell, yeah. top rope and I lift it up, yeah. I look down and it's giddy up, yeah. Non-stop to that vision all clear.